Queen Victoria began her reign with immense popularity, but that popularity was quickly dented with the bedchamber crisis. Lord Melmoth, her prime minister, from the start had his leadership undermined, and Tory Robert Peel looked like the man to replace him as prime minister. Victoria had always found Robert Peel unpleasant and cold. Victoria was devastated by the loss of Lord Melmoth as prime minister, and she spent days crying. On May 7, 1839, Lord Melmoth told her he was going to resign and advised her to call on the Duke of Wellington and Robert Peel. Victoria, not even 20 years old yet, had lost yet another father figure, and she felt the loss all too well. When Robert Peel then asked that she remove some of her ladies in waiting who were aligned with the Whigs, she told him that she would only change male members of parliament who were part of her household. She shut the door on Robert Peel and cried. When he came back on May the 9th, Victorian was even more shiftless that she would not change her household. She argued that it had never been before and her lady was hardly politician. She also never spoke to them about politics. Robert Peel feels empty-handed and a triumphant. Victorian wrote to Lord Melmoth, Peel had behaved very ill and he has insisted on my giving up my lady, to which I replied that I never would consent, and I never saw a man so frightened. I was calm, but very pleased to see my composure and great firmness. The Queen of England will not submit to such deceit. Keep yourself in readiness, for you may soon be want. Robert Peel then informed Queen Victoria that if she did not agree to remove some of her lady who were married to some of his opponents, he could not form a government.
Victoria was all too pleased with the possibility of Lord Melbourne returning to his post. She wrote, "Do not fear that I was calm and composed. They wanted to deprive me of my ladies, and I suppose they would deprive me next to my dresses and my housemaids. They wish to treat me like a girl, but I will show them that I am Queen of England." On May the 10th, Robert Peel resigned and the public was over the top. Victoria soon realized she had made a mistake, and she also been under the impression that Robert Peel wanted to change all her ladies. Once Melbourne was back in business, she asked him to find a Tory lady who could be quietly introduced into her household. For the rest of her reign, she also she was only ever asked to change her mistress of the robes, which was the highest ranking lady. Victoria would remain a weak supporter. She later wrote of the so-called bedchamber crisis, "Yet I was very hot about it, and so were my ladies. As I had been so brought up under Lord Melbourne, but I was very young, only 20, and never should have acted so again. Yes, it was a mistake." The protagonists of the bedchamber crisis are Lord Melbourne and Sir Robert Peel. And Lord Melbourne belonged to the aristocracy, and he was part of the Whigs party.
And Sir Robert Peel, he was an industrial middle class and he was part of the Conservative Party. He was also the creator of the Conservative Party. He was the elder son of a wealthy cotton manufacturer. Robert Peel was born in 1750 and died in 1830. The younger Robert was educated at Harrow and at Oxford University, and with his father's money, a parliamentary seat was found to him as soon as he came of age. In 1809, as an able government supporter, Peel received appointment as Under Secretary for War and Colonies in 1810. 2 years later, he accepted the difficult post of Chief Secretary for Ireland. There, he made his reputation as a skilled and incorruptible administrator. And at the end of his Irish secretaryship, he was marked out for early promotion. He had also distinguished himself as the ablest of the Protestant party. He gained the coveted honor of election as Member of Parliament for the University of Oxford.
The supporters of Sir Robert Peel were called the Peelites. In 1846, we can say that he inherited money from his father. That's why he wasn't obsessed by power. He had many posts in different ministerial offices. In 1812 until 1818, he became the Chief Secretary of Ireland. He contributed to the repeal of the Corn Law, which make food cheaper for the working poor. That is what saves the British agriculture. He also forced many nations to adopt emancipation during his premiership. One of the most important things he did is to make anti-slavery proposition in the 1840s, because pro-slavery became taboo after emancipation, started in Britain. He worked very hard to elevate the social condition of people and work as well upon the principle of justice and equity. So Robert Peel has some principles that make him the man he is. Number one is to prevent crime and disorder. Number two is to recognize always that the power of the police depends on the public itself. Number three is to recognize always that to secure and maintain the respect and approval of the public means. Number four is to use physical force only when the exercise of persuasion, like advice or warning, is found to be insufficient to obtain public cooperation. Number five is to recognize always that the test of police efficiency is the absence of crime and disorder. Number six is to recognize that the police are the public and the public are the police. Robert Peel has written on many topics, but he is most famous for his work about courage and strength. To sum it up, that is the reason why people always share courage quotes, strength quotes from his heavy works.
In conclusion, we can say that the bedchamber crisis learned us how England was during the 19th century, how they lived during the 19th century with monarchy under the reign of Queen Victoria. We also know that the bedchamber crisis permit us to know that there was a division between two parties, the Whigs and the Conservative Party, with Lord Melmoot and Robert Peel, who tried to do all his best to have right, and finally he have right to remove the girls of the bedchamber crisis.
I would like to talk about the bedchamber crisis and how great it was and why I chose it as my theme for the project. So first of all, I think that we can learn so many things about the bedchamber crisis. Above all, we can say that we can learn so many things about the Queen Victoria. She was only 20 years old, and she was leading even people who were older than her, and she was making decisions, taking her responsibilities. So we can learn that being young does not prevent people to move forward, because most of the time young people, they think that they should not engage in so many things because they are young, they do not have enough experience and so on. But the reality is, when you are young, you should move forward. You should go ahead, trying to create some new things, because we have the energy and so on. We have the time, so that's the perfect time to be great enough. So that's what we can learn from the Queen Victoria, that being young should not prevent us to be lazy or to stay house playing video games and so on. We should get up and know that we have so many things that we can bring to the world. The second thing is, like, the Queen Victoria was not so sober. We can say that she was not dressing different from other people. She was dressing like normally, like as people dress, and that shows humbleness. And this is a great thing, because most of the time people think that when you have some responsibilities, you should not dress like people, you should not even eat like people. That's really funny, because when you are the queen, you, like, the things that people are expecting from you is not the way you are dressing, but what we are expecting from you is the way you are going to lead, what you given. That's what people are expecting from you, but we are not expecting from you some expensive clothes and so on. And that's a good thing that we can learn from Queen Victoria. We can learn also, like, so many things about Robert Peel, because once we look at the event when Robert Peel was advising the Queen Victoria to change her ladies and she didn't accept, we can say that Sir Robert Peel resigned from that, because he believed that his idea was the good one. So we can learn that when you have your own ideas of something, the things that you are going to take from that post or something should not prevent you from defending your own thought. Because most of the time people are not accepting some things because they find it great, but they accept it because of the people who are telling them are their superior, we can say. That's the reason why people are accepting that. But this should not be the case, because when you are accepting something, you should accept it because you find it great, but not only you care about the people who are telling you that thing. Even if that is your boss who is gonna give you your salary at the end of the month, when you have your own idea, you should like propose your own ideas. But the reality is, even if when you resign to that post or that project or something, you might find something better for what you were expecting from that job or from that project. You might find better. And we should have that mindset. It is that mindset that can help us to move forward. So I would like to say that this is what I would like to talk about. So thank you for watching that video. It was a pleasure. Thank you. Goodbye.